Well, good morning. Welcome to Rubellion Offroad. Today we're going to be working in the garage. First off is these lights that I bought from Amazon, but what I found is the paint starting to come off on here. This bracket is busted here. I'll show you when I take all this off, but the bracket's busted here. And what I did is I reached out to the company on Amazon, and they were willing to work with me. They sent me out some brand new brackets, a lot thicker metal. I won't have road shake anymore. These are a lot thicker material, and that's what I put a complaint in about last time, is that the metal was just too thin. So today we're going to refinish these. We're going to make them look newer. We're going to put the new brackets on, and everything will look way better than it did. And I want to reach out to the company and say thank you once again for helping me out with that. It's nice to work with companies that work with you, so kudos to them. So the product I'm showing you today is it's called a 7-inch side shooter. They're obviously a knockoff brand from the LP9 Pro Baja design. But the Baja designs, they're beautiful light, but I just can't afford them. They're like $654 for one. And these ones here are $98 for one. So be aware when you're ordering these, they have the same sort of idea where they have the orange highlights so that when you're running just daytime, they light up orange. And they're quite bright. But let's face it, you get what you pay for. These lights will do what they need to. They're 90 watts, so they are pretty bright. The only problem, like I said, there was a few issues I had where look how floppy these are. Like so, just looking at how they shake around, and that transfers to your light. This one's obviously busted, so you're going to get more shake. But if you look at this one here, you know, when you're driving, those are shaking and your light does this out in the highway. So didn't like that part. Right away I put a review on about those. And after probably about a year of owning these, I noticed like the powder coating coming off. But we're going to fix all that today. We're going to mask all this off. Now you can take these lights right apart. You know, they have a screw here. But what happens when you do that from factory is you lose that seal. And that's going to be a hard thing to do. The proper way, you know, would be to do that. I'm going to remove the lights from the brackets. I'm going to do it the way I think should be done. I'm going to be masking all the front of this plastic off. I'll mask them all out. I'm going to sand this front part out. I'm going to put armor protection like bed armor. I'm going to spray this first half, but the back half I'm just going to do a spray paint. And the reason being, these are heat sinks for the lights, so I don't want to build up a protection over top of the heat sink. I want them still to, you know, be able to breathe and everything like that. But we're going to put the new brackets on too, and I'll show you after it's all said and done what it looks like. It should be good, stronger, and more stable on the highway. These are the brackets that they sent me out. So the company, like you can see, I don't know if you can see the difference in thickness here, but it's quite a bit thicker. You know, the brackets I got from, it's called PX Part, so on Amazon. And I was speaking to a lady there, I believe her name, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Charlize Huang or Wang. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but I reached out to her to get these brackets and she sent them out for no charge. So I'm very thankful for her for doing that. We're going to give her the review after I'm done, and you know, hopefully it brings more traffic her way for these lights. They're very good. Okay, so the progress so far is that, let's see if I can get in here. I labeled all the wires. I cut them from the main S-pod that I have in underneath the hood. So labeled them the colors so that when I go back it's easy to adapt. So right now I just put some WD-40 on some of these. You can see where this bracket is busted here. So that's the flimsiness of the bracket. Now the new ones are going to go on. I'm going to take these nuts and bolts off and put the new brackets on, and take the lights off, and we're going to start finishing them up. So what I've done here so far is I'm just starting to mask out the front cover here so that we're not scratching it when we go to sand off all the crappy powder coating here. This just looks crappy, so we're going to fix all that up. I'm going to cover the whole entire light. So like I said, you could take it apart and do them individually. Probably the best way to do it, but if you're worried about sealing it back together, I'd leave it as is. You know, I don't have any leakage on these, and I don't want to introduce any, you know, cracks or splits or anything like that. So I'm just going to leave it as is. But you'll see when it's all done, it'll look really good. And like I said, it takes a long time to mask out, but once you do it, it's the benefits of it all, right? So I took all the brackets off, and I can show you what it looks like in comparison now. Just look how thin compared to the new. Like, it's night and day, right? It's gonna be a lot better. It'll be more stable, and then they won't break like this one did. So this is what it looks like when it's all taped up and ready to go. Now I tape it up before paint, even just for sanding reasons, so you're not, scratching the surface of the lens or anything like that. I double the tape here so that when you do spray paint, it doesn't find its way in. Buy good quality paint or tape, that really sticks, and painter's tape is the best for this application. And just to make sure you get all the corners. Like, it doesn't matter if a little bit of the edge inside there shows it's black. The light's not coming from there anyways. So as long as you get the majority of it, you don't want any of your lens showing though, just to cover the lens. Okay, I'm going to show you a little trick here that I do with the tape. I leave it loose so that when I'm folding it back in, it has time to sort of mold in here. So I'll take my fingernail and I'll just push it in as far as I can with this fingernail, and then I'll take my knife and I'll slide it into this little groove back here and just finish it off nicely. Okay, just a little progress update. So I managed to take all the paint that's required off all the way around. It was a tedious process, but managed to get it already. Now what I'll do is I'll clean it up with alcohol, make sure that it's all good and clean. Then I'm going to blast it with some primer, black. Then I'm going to put some bed armor on it, harden it up, and then on the back it's just going to be a flat black. Now that the bed armor and paint are dried, I've put the lights back on. I'm just in the process of taking the tape off. I was going to just show you the product that I use. So this is this Duplicolor bed armor. So this guy right here, this is for the hardener, which I think is very useful on the front end of vehicles due to the fact that rocks not always hit there. And then this other Duplicolor, it's just a gloss black, and it's a solid enamel. So this is what the lights look like. So I've taken the tape off one, and I'm just in the process of taking tape off number two. What I like to use is these little hook tools, because you can get in there without scratching anything. You can just get in the back and then you just hook the tape and then you pull it off. And then I'm going to show you basically, once I'm all said and done here, what it looks like. As you can notice, no paint got through. I still got to take this one off, but I will show you after it's all complete. Well, here's what the final product looks like. You can see on top of the lights here how well they're done. The fronts of them. Let's bring my light around, see if you guys can see that. They turned out really good. And I'm telling you, that bed armor, not sponsored by these guys, but it's a really good product for, anything that you're going to be subject to rocks and stuff like that. I'll be doing the front of these here eventually too, to fix them up. Rocks just notorious for hitting all sorts of parts of the vehicles. And I just wanted to show you one other thing before I start wiring these things up. Is, look at that. Remember before I was able to hit it, and now they don't move at all. Perfect. Exactly what I was looking for. So, to me, very good success. It's a very easy thing to do to bring life back to your lights rather than going to pay a bunch of money for new ones. Okay, I got all the stuff set up here. These are kind of the things you're going to need. There's these kits you can get from Princess Auto or probably any of your hardware store. I don't know if you have anything like that where you're from, but they got a good selection of crimps. And this other one's a heat shrink one that I had purchased as well from Princess Auto, and it's great because it's got all the sizes that you require. Let me get it open here. And it just tells you, the diameter and the shrinking diameter. So, heat gun, a knife, some side cutters, some strippers, some clines, some tape, all of the things you need to do this job successfully. Especially because of water and stuff like that. Electrical, when people are doing these at home, they they don't tape things, and what'll happen is, you know, you'll get the corrosion and things just won't work out on the trail when you need them. So I marked all these up from when I had them installed here before I did the work on them. So now I'm just going to join them all up and I'll show you the final product, and before I'm ready to close them all up. Hey guys, one other thing I like to do, and you don't have to do this, but I normally just solder my joints as well. And the only reason being is corrosion sometimes, right? If moisture gets into these things, I want to make sure that, you know, these joints don't come apart or for whatever reason corrode on me. It's a little overkill, but like I said, it just prevents the fraying of the wire too. Just make sure it gets hot enough here first. There we go. And like I said, it's not something you have to do, but you want to ensure that it's 100%, then that's what you do. Okay. I won't bore you with all the details. I'll get all these done, and then once I get close enough again, I will show you how it's all coming together. It's important to get it nice and hot, and that paste, that soldering paste, what that'll do is help the solder flux around the cable, the connection I should say, and it goes right through the entire part of it. So keeps it a nice solid bond. The solder gets throughout the whole termination there. And now I use these butt splices, and these are pretty cool because you can use these, are a combination for a bigger size wire down to a single wire. So that's kind of what they look like there. You know, the fat wires go in here, or a bigger size wire for that matter, down to a smaller reducer. So that works. We'll get all these prepped and put some heat shrink on the other side of these, so that when I'm final connection here, I can slide the heat shrink over each individual one of these, and then it'll be a waterproof bond, and then I'll put another one over top of that, seal it all in, and then I'll tape it all up, and then I'll put it into this wire loom. Wire loom's really good for, you know, for rocks and keeping the dirt out. So I know dirt still gets in it, it's not 100%, but it does pretty good. Okay, so now, as all of us guys know, or girls, or whoever works on this stuff in their garage knows, that whenever there's crimps involved, we always do the crimps and we forget the heat shrink. So then that means you have to take everything apart and do it over again. So when you're doing projects like this, have everything laid out ahead of time. And with these crimps also, you need another tool called a crimping tool. I do have a set of those, and that's what these look like here. So get a good one, it helps. So what I do is you kind of build backwards. This is going to be the final sleeve that goes over. This one's going to make up the difference on when I cut here on this cable, so that I can maintain the waterproofing kind of deal. So you kind of have to reverse engineer this, put this back on, and then this one goes kind of on. You have to kind of put it all together in your head first, and then go back and do it. And then hopefully everything works the way you planned it, like so. And then this all kind of slides back onto one another after you're done. So I tinned all the strands now, so they're all good to go. So now you got all these individuals. You thought we were done. So these are going to go over top of the little butt splices here. So we'll just start with one of these, and we'll put this back in the group. See if I can do this. And this stuff's pretty, you know, you can fold it back when you're ready. So this is all nicely tinned and ready to go. Just put it in the hole. Now you can cut these down, you know, like, and if they're not fitting because of the solder on it, you just have to give it a pinch. And then just cut what you don't need. You don't need much in those crimps. That's probably what I'd leave on there anyways, until you feel resistance on the other side. Make sure it's in. Sometimes you'll just hit the edge of the conductor and it's not in there. There you go. And you can feel it. It's tight once you go in. And then you just give it a crimp. Now, test these before you go anywhere. Just give it a little pull. If it works that way, you got a successful one. Get the next one ready. I don't plan on coming back into this So that's the problem, you know, make sure you got everything labeled properly, otherwise, you know, you're going back in to do this twice, and I know what a pain it is. Now the reason why you could probably put all of these under one, but I like putting the wire loom on and laying everything back nicely, so professional install, right? That's what we're looking for. Or as professional as you can be, put it that way. Crimp these up. Once again, test. Yay, they work. Not really any doubt, but sometimes it happens. Just see what it looks like. So now I just shut the switches off on my S-Pod. And that's what they look like just running with the orange. And they look good on the Jeep, right? Perfect. Well, that wraps up our weekend for the install edition. This one, it's more of a revamp on lights and new brackets. We want to thank you for coming along on this video. Please join us next week where we have some new content on holidays, and we put a couple clips up there just for teasers. If you like our content, please share, like, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.